party here in this county, Garland County. Come on up here, Hayden. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to turn this over to Hayden Shamel to welcome you.
Yes, welcome. We're so glad you're here. So, good evening, Democrats. Well, my name is Hayden Shamel, and not only am I the chairwoman of the Democratic Party of Garland County, I am also your 2018 Democratic nominee for United States Congress from Arkansas. By thanking Sarah and her incredible team, because I want to tell you they are traveling all over the state doing events just like this to get our people out to vote. And as you all know, this year is more critical than it ever has been. The issue that incentivized me to run for this particular race at this particular time is lowering the cost of prescription medications. You know, I didn't know until I had Ella how outrageously expensive prescription drug costs can be. I was relatively healthy, you know, as a young woman. But once I had Ella, my husband and I are both educators, we had to put her in daycare, just like lots of parents, working parents, have to do. And for those of you in this room who are parents or grandparents, you know just like I do, it's hard to keep your kids out of the doctor's office. Well, TC and I have educators insurance, which is relatively good insurance. But even with educators insurance, out-of-pocket costs for common prescription medications can often be hundreds of dollars. And I have to think about the people who are living right here in Hot Springs, who go to the pharmacy to pick up medication that either they or their kids can't do without, and they have to make a decision between that medicine and putting food on the table at night. That should not be the reality in 2018, not when we're living in one of the richest nations in the history of the world, and certainly not when there are common sense steps that Congress could take right now to drive down the cost of prescription medications. So healthcare is extremely important to me. I believe that healthcare is a fundamental human right. The second issue that's important to me is education. And as you know, as an educator, education has to be our first priority. Education and the economy go hand in hand. Any good economist would tell you that. And what we have to fight for is to make absolutely certain that every child, regardless of where they live in the state of Arkansas, whether they live in a rural area or if they live in an urban area, it should not matter. Every single child deserves access to the same superior education. And it's time that we elect legislators who are going to fight to make certain that that happens. And then the final point that I'm fighting for is the economy. You know, and I tell people this all the time as I travel. You know, it's not really the economy. What it really boils down to is people. It boils down to caring about people, to getting back to decency. We have to fight for a livable wage for our people. You know that in our district, 1 out of every 4 children and elderly are living in poverty. 1 out of every 4. It is time for us to stand up and fight for a livable wage for our people. We should not be having to work 2 and 3 jobs just to make ends meet. There shouldn't be a category called working poor. So what it comes down to is this for me. We've got to fight for what's right. And what's right is to ensure that our people have affordable health care, that our kids have a superior education, and ultimately that our people can afford to raise their kids in such a way that was better than how they were raised. We can do it. We can do it together. And the way that we do it is by organizing, strategizing, mobilizing like we never have before. We have the numbers to turn our people out. I would not be committing my life to this campaign if I did not know that we have the numbers to win. We just have to turn our people out to the polls like we never have before, and I believe we can and will do that in November. Thank you so much for coming out.